Hi everyone, welcome back to another video. If you're new here, my name is Rachel. I am a solo female traveler, and my mission is to inspire as many women as possible to start solo traveling and step out of their comfort zone and see what the world has to offer them. In this video, I'm going to be sharing from my experience my top safety tips for solo female travelers to help them be more confident and feel safe in the place that they'll be traveling to. These tips are not going to be in any specific order, as they all are very important to travel safely as a solo female. So let's go ahead and dive right in. My very first tip is going to be on communication and how to stay communicated with your family and emergency services if you need them. Now, in a lot of countries, you're not going to have US service. Your phone will not work. If you have a specific carrier, they may carry service in that country. So double check with your carrier before purchasing this, but I usually use a service called Airlo, and it is an electronic SIM. That way you can have service in different countries, in different areas of the world. It's pretty affordable. It depends on how long you're gonna be staying somewhere, but it can range anywhere from $6 to $30 for your service. You can actually download the app and activate your service before you even get there. That way you'll have service right when you get there. I've used the service Airlo on multiple trips and it's helped me perfectly fine. I've had great service. I use it for Google Maps, contacting my family. I would also recommend downloading an offline Google Maps. That way, just in case something happens with the service, you will still be able to navigate your way around at least until you can find Wi-Fi. I would also recommend writing down any emergency contact numbers for your family or your friends. That way, just in case something happens to your phone or you're not able to access it, you will have those handy. You can also write down any emergency services or police or US embassy numbers in the country that you'll be visiting. That way you know who to call in case you need help and someone can help you in the country that you'll be in. And if you want to take it a step further, you can also research any hospitals or pharmacies nearby that you may need for the nearest US embassy. I personally don't do that, but I also do make sure I know the emergency numbers at the very least. I personally share my full itinerary with a family member or a friend. That way they know exactly where I'm gonna be at, when I'm gonna be there, and if I need them, I can just tell them that I'm at this location and they'll already have the address. You can also share your live location with apps such as Life 360. This will help give them real-time updates on exactly where you're at and what you're doing, if you're moving, if you're walking, if your phone is about to die, all of that good stuff. Normally, I share addresses of the places I'll be staying at. I share my flight information, any restaurants I'll be visiting or that I plan on visiting. I will share those addresses as well, just in case. And I will also regularly check in with my family or my friends. That way they know I'm safe. You can also download WhatsApp. It's a great app to communicate with locals in the country that you'll be visiting, also with any guides or activity guides that you may need to contact. And any family members that don't have iMessage, you can message them on there as well. Now, before I go anywhere, I usually research the area that I'll be going to. So that is going to be my next tip, is to research. Because you want to be familiar with the area before you even get there. That way you're not caught by surprise by anything out of the ordinary. So you can do some research on, obviously, Google. I usually go to Facebook pages. I look up the exact area I'll be in and I'll join those Facebook pages, and they have millions of tips, places to visit, recommendations, safe areas, what to look out for, and it's just very helpful. You can ask specific questions on the Facebook group and they will help you out to the best of their ability, and I've just found it very helpful when traveling to new places. I will join those groups about a month or two before. That way I can get more familiar with the area and, you know, pick out my activities and my excursions that I want to do. I also usually look up what the locals dress like in that area. That way I'm not standing out too much and I don't look like too much of a tourist. I will also go on Google Maps and I will zoom in, put it on satellite, and I will look at the streets, what they look like, and just make sure it's a safe area. That way you're not caught by surprise by anything when you get there. I also like to try and make sure that my flight or my mode of transportation is arriving during daylight hours, because you don't want to be navigating an unfamiliar area at nighttime, especially as a solo female. It can be very dangerous, so you just want to try and make sure you have enough time to get to your accommodations before nighttime. I also research ride shares like taxis, Ubers, Lyfts, what they offer in the country that I'll be at, and what's the best mode of transportation to get to my accommodations. Depending on where you're staying, some resorts will have shuttles to take you to where you need to go, which is amazing. Or if you're renting a vehicle, I would just make sure you're familiar with at least the surrounding area when you first get there. Now, staying safe physically and digitally. It is very important to safeguard your location to any strangers, especially if your social media page is on public. I know I like to post where I'm at. That's totally fine. You guys don't have to not post at all, but I would recommend not posting until you actually leave that area. So if you're at the airport, if you're at a beach, or if you're at your accommodation, I would not post the exact location until I leave that area, because you never know who's lurking, especially if your page is on public. You never know who's watching you. That also brings me into any thefts. So when you are traveling, I usually try and make sure I have all my valuables in one little safeguarded area. You can either buy a neck pouch with a lock on it, or you can buy a crossbody bag. That way it's not easily snatchable and people can't snatch it off you. I also try and bring as little valuable items as possible. Anything I wouldn't be okay with losing, I usually don't bring, other than obviously my phone and camera and important things like that. But any flashy jewelry, rings, earrings, anything like that, I usually try and avoid. Now, protecting yourself physically can be a challenge because a lot of countries and a lot of airlines won't allow you to bring any weapons. So something simple that you guys can bring is just a little alarm that you can press that will make a very loud noise in case you need help and bring attention to you. I also would recommend just checking the regulations in the country itself. That way you might be able to go and purchase maybe pepper spray or something small that you can protect yourself with when you actually arrive at your destination, versus just bringing it on the plane with you. Airlines won't allow pepper spray or knives or anything like that. Honestly, anything can happen, so you always need to keep your head on a swivel, be aware of your surroundings. Obviously, don't be paranoid, but you know, if you see something suspicious, don't ignore it. Trust your intuition. If you need to leave an area, leave an area. And this kind of goes for everyday safety as well. Just be on the lookout for anything strange, anything suspicious, just as you would in your own country. But also search up any specific scams or anything in the area that might be going on at the time. That way you can be aware of those as well. I know this can sound a little bit scary trying to prepare for your first solo trip and stay safe, but I promise you guys, this is just simple precautions. You don't need to be paranoid about safety. You can still have fun, you can still enjoy yourself. If you are extremely paranoid about going alone, then I would recommend joining a group travel. So they do have female group travels where you guys fly by yourself, but you meet up and you stay in the same accommodation. So that's another option. Or you can do guided tours. So any excursion you have, you can be with a guide. You don't have to do it by yourself. You can hire a driver in some countries where they will drive you around and you don't have to worry about navigating the driving. And if you guys are renting a vehicle, I would recommend checking any driving regulations. Some countries you drive on the other side of the road. Some have different rules and regulations, so just search that up. That way you can avoid any interaction with the police or getting pulled over or breaking any laws. All right guys, so those are my main safety tips. If you guys think of anything else that you want to add to the list, comment below and we can just start a whole list of safety measures that us females can take to stay safe while we solo travel. Like I said, don't be paranoid about it. This is just precautions that you take for anywhere you go. You can still travel safe as a solo female. Trust me, I've done it before. So I hope you found this helpful. And like I said, if you have any other tips, feel free to comment below. Thank you so much for watching. And if you like this video, please consider liking or subscribing or commenting. It would really help the algorithm and help me inspire as many women as possible to start solo female traveling. Other than that, you guys have a great day and happy, safe solo traveling.